We've reached the end, for now at least. With this latest video, we'll have covered all the available chapters of the Team Up series. As My Hero Academia fans, we're fortunate that the series not only has an amazing anime and manga, but also that it has some amazing spin-off series. We'll of course cover the new chapters of the Team Up series when they arrive, but for now, this is the end. Now, as for what this series is, for those unfamiliar, this is content from a recent My Hero Academia spin-off titled Team Up Missions. The content is official, and while I wouldn't consider it canon, I'll leave it up to you guys to make your own call on that, as it's not officially stated. The content is spoiler free, no content from the upcoming season 5 of the main story is present here, and of course no content from the manga series is either. The story is illustrated by Yoko Akiyama, not Koei Horikoshi, so while the art is very clean, if you see any differences from the usual style, this is why. If you enjoy this type of content made for both anime and manga fans, be sure to let us know by dropping a like, and if you aren't already, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to never miss an upload. And with that said, let's get into the story. This latest chapter opens with Burnin giving someone arriving from America a warm welcome, no pun intended. The new arrival would decline Burnin's suggestion to get some rest, expressing that they have plans to tend to. In response to this, Burnin would reveal to us that this individual is not a hero but a support item developer, and one with a promising future. Here we would get a better but still unclear look at this person, revealed to be wearing glasses. The plans previously mentioned were to take place somewhere we're all familiar with, UA High School. The Team Up program was explained in the first chapter to be for students and pro heroes nationwide, and is an attempt at increasing the level of communication among heroes, justified by explaining that when the heroes become pros, they'll often have to work with heroes they weren't familiar with prior. It can be difficult to work with someone you don't know, and even more so than you'd probably expect if you consider something like quirk compatibility, making Team Up missions a solid strategy for preparing the heroes of the future. Cutting back to our current chapter though, Deku was walking through the halls of UA when he heard his name from behind. It was All Might congratulating him on his previous Team Up mission. And if we're to assume the manga is showing us all of Deku's Team Up missions, All Might is referring to a mission with the number 2 hero, Hawks, and Bakugo. Another chapter that we've covered on the channel already, so if you haven't seen that video, be sure to check it out after this one. All Might would go on to ask if Deku had done maintenance on his costume recently. This sort of caught Deku off guard, and he replied, no, I haven't had the chance lately. All Might then reminded him that it's important for pro heroes to regularly get their costumes checked on, and suggested that they go to the support item department together. This little scene is a nice reminder of the things we don't get to see a lot of in the main series, like yeah, our characters are most likely very frequently interacting with the support item department. The two would continue on their way to the support item department, but someone was chasing from behind and would jump on All Might while calling out, "Uncle All Might!" This was very surprising to Deku, but this person would continue asking All Might if he had lost weight. It was Melissa. The chapter would here remind us who Melissa is, stating that she's a quirkless girl who played a role in My Hero Academia 2 Heroes the movie, adding that we should check out the movie if we'd like to learn more, and I too would suggest you check out the movie if you haven't seen it because it was pretty entertaining. The next part would be kind of rushed. All Might asked how Dave was doing, and Melissa responded that he's getting better slowly and that she visits him a lot. Now, visit him where? I'm not sure. It could be a prison because he committed several crimes in that movie, or it could just be a hospital due to injuries he took in the movie. Anyway, I'm not sure. Anyway, from there, Deku would ask Melissa what she was doing here at UA in the support item department, and Melissa would then happily let him know that she was chosen to do support item research here at UA, adding that she's actually teaming up with her. We would see a shadow of her revealed to be Hatsume. Melissa would kind of fire the same question back at Deku, asking why he was at the support item department today, where he then let her know he was there for costume maintenance. The two girls would look over his costume, and while doing so, Hatsume would observe that there was damage and suggested they make it stronger and super cute also. Melissa would be a bit more considerate, actually asking Deku if there were any changes he'd like specifically. Deku would ask for improved durability to soften his smash attacks, while keeping the design as close to its current state as possible, a reminder that he still cherishes the design his mom had put together for him at the beginning of the series. The two girls would get to work, and Deku would share his excitement with All Might, stating that with these two working together on the costume, it will definitely turn out amazing. Hatsume and Melissa would get to work immediately, first going the direction of making the costume more sturdy using a metal base and shock absorbent. Hatsume, as you'd probably guess, was overly excited to begin working on the design she'd come up with. However, Melissa was hesitant, stating that the costume might be too heavy if they go with Hatsume's plan. Hatsume wouldn't hear it though. Melissa's argument was that support items are tools for heroes, and the request Deku gave for the design was for it to not change too much. Hatsume was definitely in her own world at this point, even saying that Midoriya is an amateur when it comes to support items. Big yikes. Melissa wouldn't budge though, making it clear that her belief is that supporters should think of the hero first and foremost. Deku and All Might very visibly didn't like what was happening in front of them. We went from a team up to having Hatsume say they'll have Midoriya judge who can make the better support item. Melissa was on board, and just like that, we had a contest on our hands. A few days later at USJ, the site of the USJ villain attack at the beginning of the series, the competition would begin. Before they began though, Deku was curious about one thing. Why the audience? Because Bakugo, Kaminari, Mineta, and Kirishima were all present for some reason. Kirishima would explain that they heard Melissa was here visiting, and added that they also wanted to talk to her about their costumes as well. Bakugo, being the ultimate opportunist, would take the opportunity to do his usual routine, making fun of Deku, today calling Deku's costume the least interesting one in the world. And to be fair, Deku's costume isn't very interesting, at least to me, so he might have a point this time. We then begin with Hatsume introducing baby number 209, the Automatic Defender EX. Testing would begin immediately and start off very difficult with falling rocks in the landslide zone. Before the rocks could land, Deku swiftly dodged them all. However, he didn't move, the suit moved on its own. Hatsume would explain that this was the work of the automatic avoidance feature that detects obstacles and automatically dodges them. Only a second after this though, Deku would suddenly collapse in pain. He was suddenly unable to move, and with her usual excitement, Hatsume would inform him that the suit ran out of battery, which can only last 40 seconds, might I add. Way too short, way too short. Bakugo was enjoying the show, calling out good job to Hatsume, who he referred to as Invention Girl instead of her actual name. Up next was Melissa. Her costume looked identical to Deku's usual one, something he would point out, to which she'd respond by inviting him to try it out. This costume was apparently packed with high heat resistance, chill resistance, the Todoroki combo basically, and shock resistance as well. But there's even more, the suit was also very flexible, lightweight, and good for mobility. It wouldn't last long though. Deku one moment was saying it was perfect, and then the next second his costume was ripping apart as if he were the Hulk. Judging by her reaction, Melissa saw this coming and explained to Deku that it's still a work in progress, and that when it takes too much damage, the costume simply falls apart. Deku was just terrified hearing this and only could respond that they'll arrest him. Bakugo was loving this content, and I hope you are too, by the way. Meanwhile, All Might was concerned, and the two girls were ready to carry on with their contest. Dangerous testing would continue, although torture might be a more accurate word based on how Deku looked during all of this. Meanwhile, All Might would think to himself, wondering if there was some way to get these two girls to work together. Which is funny because they weren't working together on the inventions, but they seemed to be enjoying their time together with Deku. Eventually, it'd be time for a break. They'd been going non-stop for a while, so it made sense. It wouldn't be so simple though. After pressing the button to turn off the natural disasters, the whirlpool drowning Deku continued. It didn't take Hatsume long to realize what the issue was. They'd been using so many natural disaster effects that the system went out of control, creating a series of real disasters. Kirishima and Mineta were of course only concerned about Melissa and were running off to save her when Bakugo grabbed their faces, threw them, and told them to stop the effects. Kirishima would help too, and so Midoriya would shortly be rescued. Although in his own words, in a way, the USJ effects going out of control kinda saved him from Hatsume and Melissa, that is. There wasn't time to relax though, because before he could take in being rescued, Deku saw something terrifying. Melissa about to be crushed by debris. In another instant, Deku would swoop in, grabbing her Superman style before anything could harm her. But then, there was Hatsume, who Deku would call out to, but she wouldn't pay him any mind. Instead, her eyes took note of the inventions nearby, and she ran off to protect them. Melissa would yell out for her, but she wasn't hearing anything, and could only see the inventions that she worked so hard to make. She was now in trouble, the same way Melissa was a second ago. But Deku couldn't make it in time, the new suit was holding him back. It was then at this time, with quick thinking, Melissa used a capture support item that quickly wrapped up Hatsume and pulled her towards safety. Just then, all those support items were crushed. She'd been saved in just the nick of time. Melissa with concern asked Hatsume why she ran back towards danger, but Hatsume didn't hear this. She was just glad to let them know it was saved, the costume that Melissa made. Hatsume wasn't thinking about her own inventions, she wanted to protect Melissa's. The two were not bonding over the item and had gained respect for each other, even now saying they'd be great partners. All Might and Deku were happy to see the two realize they could do great things together, but unfortunately for Deku, the two were then ready to continue testing. With that said, this is the end of the story, and for now the end of the Team Up series. If you haven't seen all the videos in the series, be sure to check them out on the channel. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to let us know in the comments or by dropping a like. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Plot Armor for some of the best My Hero Academia content out there. Until next time, I'm KJ, have a great day, goodbye.